Hello, friends. Today I invite you on an amazing journey to the very depths of our nature. We are used to looking at the world through the eyes, feel it with touches, hear it with sounds, but rarely think. Who exactly does all this possible? Who is the mysterious observer who revives reality inside us? The science of reason and perception, Neuroscience, opens before us the doors to the world, where the usual ceases to be ordinary. Each of our eyes, thought, or memory is born in the incredible dance of electrical signals and chemical reactions. But does this mean that we are just a set of such processes? Or is there something more that cannot be measured with devices? Let's start with a simple one. Imagine that each sensation is only a tiny impulse that runs through the cells connected to a giant network. These cells are called neurons, and it is they who create that complex system that controls everything that we call ourselves. There are billions, and each has thousands of connections, forming a network with capabilities that surpass any computers. But the most amazing, this network is not static. It changes every moment. When you learn the new connections are created. When you remember the past, old ones are activated. In the literal sense, we are creatures who rewrite themselves again and again. And here the main question appears. If we are so plastic, is there anything constant in us? What can be called I? Or is it I is just an illusion that our mind draws, combining millions of individual impulses into a single story? Scientists have long been looking for answers. Some argue that a person is the result of a complex interaction between brain networks. Others suggest that all this complexity can hide the level so far and no accessible to science. After all, no matter how much we explore cells and impulses, the question remains, who is the observer who is aware of the process itself? We see how emotions arise, how solutions appear. But did you think that even the most complex calculations in our brain are accompanied by a sense of subjectivity? We are not just react, we feel, rejoice, wonder. And this makes us truly unique. It is also interesting that science gradually confirms our perception of reality is not a mirror of the outside world. It is rather like a picture that our mind draws. Each of us has an internal artist who uses the signals of the senses as paint, and memory and imagination are like brushes. That is why two people can look at the same picture, but see it in completely different ways. If we think about it, we live not so much in objective reality as in its internal reconstruction. And this is what explains why we are able to dream, create stories, and imagine something that we have never seen. But an intriguing question arises. If everything that we feel is created in ourselves, then what is real? Are we builders of our own world? And if so, who is this builder? At this place, we approach the border of science and philosophy. Neuroscience can explain the mechanisms, but does not give a final answer to the question, who we are. We seem to stand at the intersection, where the facts and riddles are intertwined. Now let's try to look deeper. Our brain is not only an organ of perception, this is a kind of universe within the universe. In every moment, he creates a symphony of signals that are combined into the flow of experience. And in this stream, we call ourselves I. Think, every day you wake up a little different than yesterday. Your memories are updated, your perception is changing, but the feeling of continuity remains. As if somewhere inside there is a thread connecting all the versions of you into one. Scientists call this the phenomenon of integration. Different parts of the brain work together, creating an integral experience. But maybe outside the scientific terms, this is what we call the soul? Of course, the Neuroscience is careful about such words, but the very fact of the existence of a continuous observer remains a mystery. Another amazing feature of our brain is the ability to predict the future. We do not just react to signals, we are constantly building models of what can happen. When you catch the ball, your mind calculates the trajectory even before the ball is in your hands. When you listen to the melody, your mind predicts the next note. And if the prediction coincides, you feel harmony. We can say that we are creatures who live not only in the present, but also in the future. Our mind all the time paves the way forward, creating scripts and choosing paths. But what is even more interesting, the same ability allows us to dream. We can imagine something that never existed and to translate it into reality. That is why Neuroscience is not only about cells and signals. This is also about creativity, about the ability of a person to go beyond the obvious. Today, scientists are already able to read some images directly from the brain, restore thoughts on neurons. It sounds fantastic, but this is reality. Does this mean that one day we can completely reveal the mystery of the mind? Maybe, but most likely, new questions will appear with each new answer. After all, even if we explain each molecule, the most important thing remains. Why does this system come to life in sensations? Why do we feel joy, inspiration, love? Maybe this is precisely the real secret. Not how neurons work, but that they create more than the sum of their parts. And then the answer to the question, who are we? It sounds like this. We are not just a set of cells and signals. We are a story that the mind itself tells about ourselves. We are creators of the inner world where ideas, dreams, and hopes are born. When we look into the depths of the Neuroscience, we open not only the structure of the brain, but also the boundless capabilities of a person. We learn to understand that in each of us, the power is hidden to change ourselves and our world. Friends, what we are is not the final result, but the process. We are not static, we are constantly developing. And maybe the most amazing in Neuroscience is that it reminds us, every moment we are able to create ourselves again. Thank you for going this way together. Let knowledge of yourself inspires you, and questions that have not yet been an answer open new horizons for research. See you, friends.